Hello everyone and welcome to another news episode of What's New in Cloud FinOps. We are talking about April 2026 and your two co-hosts, the usual ones, me, Franck Contrepois, and my great friend...
Steve-O. Yes, I said
Steve-O.
I did it. Or as you all know me, Stephen Old. We're not far off FinOps X, Frank.
No, we're not. We're
just talking about it,
It's,
aren't we? How close we are. And for those who don't know, you should all wish Frank a happy birthday when you see him there. And that's why every year I get as a new piece of gear. So last year was gilets, year before that was hoodies, year before that was the t-shirts. The t-shirts had us in a big way on.
well, the hoodie, it's a t-shirt,
no, it's the
hoodie,
hoodies,
gilet.
And now we're going for a cap.
Yes, so
that's my little birthday present to Frank every year. Is I get one of those sorts,
so
but he has
nice.
no idea what it looks like until it arrives. But the gilet was pretty chill, I thought.
Really nice, really cool.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I will try to go pretty calm again, but I've started looking as your idea. It's a great one. Okay, let's
need some music.
Start. Yes, I think I have it set up.
Here we go. So instances, compute. First thing, so there are quite a few EC2 ones there. So EC2 Capacity Manager now supports tag-based dimensions. And so starting today, EC2 Capacity Manager supports tag-based dimension, enabling you to use tags from your EC2 resources to group and filter capacity metrics. So the Capacity Manager helps you monitor and optimize capacity across on-demand instances, spot instances, and capacity reservation. This launch also includes account name in a new built-in dimension. So you can activate up to 5 custom tag keys, such as environment, team, or cost center, and use them alongside building dimensions like region, instance type, and availability zone. Have a fantastic play with this one. The next one, and I'm going to put them all together, I think. I'm going to try, because there is the C8IN, the C8IB, the M8IN, the M8IB, the R8IN, the R8IB, and C8INE and M8INE instances going GA. And so those are all different types of instances. The N1s will be more, for example, focused on networking. But every one of them bring something specific. But underneath the generation, the 8i tells us that it is 8th generation and it's Intel. So it is powered, they're all powered by custom 6th generation Intel Xeon scalable processors available only to AWS. These instances feature the latest 6th generation AWS Nitro cards. And all of these environments are bringing improvements over the previous generation. What I find extremely interesting is that for the first time, Intel is moving towards becoming a foundry like TSMC, which means that they can serve customers which are not Intel. And that Amazon seems to be one of these, starting asking for custom CPUs. That's also quite interesting. So yeah, C8, that's CPU specific, M8, that is memory optimized. Then you have R8, which if I remember are just the standard ones, which are, they're standard. And then you have C8 again, but NE, which means that they have special Nitro card for networking. And I don't remember the E.
Where I saw I've been listening to replacement news noises. I was going to surprise you on the next one. On INE.
Yeah, I have IN. I get it. The E, INE.
Great question.
Anyway.
I lose track. I've been trying to get all my head around all of the Azure ones still again.
No, it's okay. But so anyway, have a look. 8th generation with Intel are all out, and they cover all the basic standard ones for the C family, the N family, the R family.
Have they just changed N to NE for network?
No, there is C8IN and C8INE. And so I'm just
Oh, yes, I see. Oh, yeah, but it's more network optimized instance.
N is network.
They provide 2 times higher network for traffic ongoing through internet gateways compared to the INs.
Yes, that's what I was trying to get.
So it must be
to.
like network extra.
Yes, network enhanced.
Yeah.
They never stop these letters. Anyway, so this is everything you need to know. If you use Intel, you have the 8th generation just out of the gate. Next is yours.
Yes, just a quick one. Azure Red Hat OpenShift, ARO, now supports the NVIDIA H100 and H200 GPUs based on the Azure machine SKUs, enabling customers to run large-scale AI machine learning and high-performance computing workloads on a fully managed OpenShift service. I can't remember if we talked about that before. It was generally available, but that one's there now. Next one, 8th generation TPUs were announced by Google Cloud at Google Next, and that has the 8T and the 8I. There was loads of stuff. Oh, my quick link didn't work. You know when you can get to a highlight? Oh, there it is. It's just a bit lower. So the 8T uses the new interchip interconnect ICI technology to scale up to 9600 TPUs and 2 petabytes of shared high bandwidth memory in a single superpod. It achieves 3 times the processing power of Ironwood and delivers up to double the performance per watt. I mean, the scale you must be working at to require that. But how wonderful that it's more performant per watt. The amount of watts, though, that you're using at that scale, I'm sure are horrific.
It's anyway, and the price is probably huge. This is limited to a very limited, like 100 customers worldwide, which have both the money and the engineering capability to use all these things. Yes.
And then there's the 8i, which is optimized for inference, uses the new broadfly topology to directly connect 1,152 TPUs, that's it, into a single pod. It features 3 times more on-chip SRAM compared to previous versions, and a specialized collectives accelerator engine offloads resource-heavy tasks. I think I missed some punctuation there. Well, no, I didn't, but I feel I needed to put some intonation in, which I didn't put in.
Yes, true.
Right. And a specialized collectives accelerator engine offloads resource-heavy tasks. Taken together, the 8i delivers 80% better performance per dollar for inference than the previous generation. So it's probably about 500 companies worldwide big enough to use the 1,152 TPUs.
Yes.
But it's more broad than the 8T, but still interesting and cool, I suppose. And then the GCP, the other thing, total flip side, is the generally available release of the G4 Accelerator Optimized Machine Series supporting fractional GPUs. So you can use less than a single full GPU.
So less than one GPU attached.
So you can split it. You can have a part GPU. So up to an 8th, I think. Yes. So it goes down to an 8th rather, sorry. So you can have half, quarter, or 8th of a G4 GPU.
That is really interesting that you can split that and the memory also. Really cool. Really cool.
Isn't it? So that is the end of that one, but some really different pieces of news.
If you're very rich or very poor, that was cool.
So exactly. We'll help at both ends.
Good luck if you're in the middle. DB, we have Aurora serverless, up to 30% better performance, smarter scaling, and still scales to 0. So the auto-scaling database, Amazon Aurora serverless, it can scale up to support any demanding workload, but now also done 0 when you just don't need it. And they've made it faster and smarter, with up to 30% better performance than of the previous version and enhanced scaling that understand your workload. It's especially well suited.
0.
Yeah, it scales to 0. It is especially well suited for agentic AI applications, which typically have bursts of activity, long idle windows, and unpredictable patterns. So Aurora Serverless handles it all automatically, scaling capacity with your agents rather than against them. And you only pay for what you actually use. When not in use, the database automatically scales down to 0 to save costs.
So that's interesting. So I remember when Dario was using serverless for RDS, and it cost more to do that than to have an instance. But he had really unpredictable workloads and didn't know what to do with them yet, and so it was one of those, understood costs that he would adapt in time.
Yes, and it feels that agentic AI will be this. You don't know the request you're going to get. You don't know the how
but
much
the baseline was so much
work.
more expensive. It was something like $2,000 a month. But this is saying you don't pay while it's off. So I'll do some research into the pricing. If there's
so Amazon Aurora pricing. Let me check pricing by instance, pricing database storage, additional cost.
Can you look into that while I do the next one?
Yes, please.
AI cost summary agent in preview for Google Cloud billing. I think I've put that one in twice. I think I've put that somewhere else, mate. So I guess, it's in there because it's AI. I've put it in the cost bit later on. New billing overview widget for Gemini and Vertex AI spend insights. Useful, but it's still in preview. And you can see it in the release note docs on April 27th, 2026. And then Azure generally available release of the premium SSD v2 for Azure database for PostgreSQL. I am denied about whether this go in storage or database, but I have loads in storage, so I put it in database. So they are excited apparently to announce the general availability of the premium SSD v2 for Azure database for PostgreSQL. Postgres. With a premium SSD v2, you can achieve up to 4 times higher IOPS, significantly lower latency, and better price performance for IO-intensive Postgres workloads. That's the main thing to note there.
So I was looking at this Aurora. It's complicated because it obviously goes with capacity units, and so it's you can start at 0 capacity units. It will go with increments of half a capacity unit, but it's not really clear. So if you, so the serverless use again capacity units. It costs 0.12 on standard and 0.16 on IO optimized. So you will have, and then you pay for storage and IOs. So unfortunately, I cannot really say how much that is compared to the past, at least with my knowledge. You remember this kind of stuff usually?
I do. So I'm just reading the next one, which is interesting. It was it's from Wiz. It's a Google one. And I was wondering why I was on the Wiz website when I started to look into it.
Okay.
But now it makes sense. This is the AI bill of materials I was telling you about, the AI bomb. Works towards eliminating shadow IT by automatically inventorying all AI frameworks, models, and IDEs across your environment. But I was trying to work out. So you go into the document, which is wiz.io/academy/AI security/AI bill of materials. And it talks about what's the difference between an AI bomb and an S bomb. Which I assume is a security bomb. I'm trying to work out if this is just a methodology or if they've got any sort of collector that makes it easy. No, it's a methodology. It's interesting though, worth a read. I think it was just one of the talks at Next. I hadn't gone into the depth of it when I put it in there, but it's worth a read. We'll put it in the notes so you can see it. And so your question was reminding of the pricing change.
No, we were talking about the Aurora serverless.
Yeah.
So they've improved it. Is it extremely expensive compared to the normal Aurora? I am unsure because they use different
methodology. When I saw it in place, it was if you could run on a tiny instance.
Mm-hmm.
That was the difference, especially when you can put an RI against that instance.
Yes.
Or now saving time, but they're not as efficient. So that was the main piece. But so if you're using it for the sake of using it, you're probably wasting money. If you're using it because you need that flexibility, then it might be
Yes.
a bit more expensive than you could run on low, but it's worthwhile. That was my experience with it.
Yeah, and I think like everything on cloud, you should start with the minimum and try if it works, if it matches your SLA, because maybe you just need a micro, whatever micro is going to be just enough for many things. You don't need much more than that. And if you need more, yes, then start building slowly. Okay, we are on the next one. And that's, you're going to have lots of things
it's
there.
Me, yeah. Get strapped in, everyone, for a storage overload.
I'm ready.
Storage. Right. Okay. I will try to go through them quite quickly. They just seem to, Azure have been quite poor at putting out news that we have been able to say is in any way FinOpsy. And so there's a bunch all at once. And you might argue that it's tentative or on the edge, let's say. Generally available, Azure NetApp's File Advanced Ransomware Protection. Okay, why is this FinOps related? Well, there is no specific charge for ANF ARP, which is what it's called, but you should see considerations when sizing your deployments to accommodate NR to make it easier to use. But I have seen several big clients in the UK, people I know working there, actually more than clients, who have had this problem with ransomware. And I thought, well, this is interesting because I've heard a lot about the NetApp advanced file protection, ransomware protection, and I assumed it came with a princely cost, but actually it is just part of the service, it seems. So I thought it was interesting that it's something extra for not more, and it's all about value, right? But that's if you're using Azure NetApp. But if you are, definitely make sure you've got it on. Azure is also announcing minimum billable object size for cooler storage tiers. I think this links to the next piece of news. Basically, for storage accounts with Azure Blob or Data Lake storage, ADLS, we are announcing a minimum billable object size for the cool, cold, and archive access tiers of 128 kilobytes. Objects on those tiers that are smaller will be billed at 128 kilobytes, as you can imagine, at the rate of the corresponding tier. Billing occurs on the existing capacity billing meters. There is no change to transactions. So for most people, you won't feel this. For people who store lots of tiny objects, you will.
Emails.
Yeah, death by 1,000 cuts potentially.
So if you store your emails into something like this, you need to zip it. You need to make it a big file.
Yeah,
because otherwise you're going to start paying 128K for tons of things.
Yeah, 100%. But this comes in 2 stages, the billing behavior. In July the 1st, 2026, the new billing behavior applies to all new storage accounts created on or after this date. And on July the 1st, 2027, the behavior applies to all existing as well. So it'll apply to all of them. So it gives you a year and a bit to sort out. The hot access tier continues to have no minimum object size to reduce potential cost impact. We recommend packaging small objects into large objects before moving data to cooler tiers. Or using the next piece of news, which is general availability smart tier, Azure Blob and ADLS. So the other part of the guidance was all using smart tier GA to automatically keep small objects on the hot access tier. So this is, you can see why these two are linked now, right?
Yes.
Announcing the GA of Smart Tier for Azure Blob and ADLS. Smart Tier is generally available as of today, which was, I think, in April 27th, in nearly all zonal public regions. The Azure regions, which are excluded, I think, are Israel Central, Qatar Central, and UAE North. I'm not part of this GA announcement. Smart Tier is a fully managed and automated data tiering solution, avoiding manual tier placement. We've been wanting this for ages. There are rules behind it. Any object that isn't accessed for 30 days is moved to the cool tier. After 90 days, it transitions to the cold tier. And it's seamless and all that kind of stuff. But the monitoring fee is charged for objects stored in Smart Tier over 128.
So you should split everything in 128 or 127? Yeah. That might be the best, of course. It's going to be horrible.
Well, no, because then it keeps it in hot, doesn't it?
But I'm not even sure it keeps it in hot, because if you keep something small...
The other one says it keeps it in hot. Yeah.
You should keep it in hot, or it does keep it in hot?
The hot access tier continues to have no minimum object size to reduce potential cost impact.
Yes.
We recommend packaging small objects.
Because it says that
you're
on
right.
the...
You might move it. Here we go. Simple building model. You can your data uses the existing hot storage cold tiers. There are no charges for tier transitions. Early data a monitoring fee is charged for objects stored in. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is, it tells you that after 30 days, something that is not accessed is moved to the cool tier, and after 90 days, it's moved to the cold tier. Doesn't say anything about the size. And if you have millions and millions of emails...
once it goes into cool, you're going to be charged at 128.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But you won't get charged. Well, hang on. But you will get... Will you get charged? A monitoring fee is charged for objects stored in smart tier over 128. But if it goes into cool, you're already being charged 128. But is it the size or the charge that's going to matter?
Yes, but yes. And how much is the difference? So that for the FinOps people listening to that, the one that like the numbers, have a look at that. There is this interesting scenario of smaller object than 128. How much will they cost? And how much would they cost when they are bigger than 128, but they have that monitoring fee applied to them?
I've got some blobs I can do, and I hold JSON objects, which are tiny.
Yes, absolutely.
So, I don't particularly want them on cold, though. I want to be able to access them quickly. Anyway, I will have a think if I can do a demo version of it, and we'll test it. It will take 30 days for us to know.
Yeah, but 30 or 90, yes. But anyway, we can try something and put some stuff in there.
And the final two are public preview, Azure NetApp file storage with cool access enhancement. So quality of service update with cool access enabled on premium ultra service levels improves how Azure NetApp's files balances performance and cost for mixed hot and cool workloads. There's a little more on that, but that's very specific if you're using Azure NetApp file storage. And then finally, generally available, Azure Data Box now supports Azure Files Provision v2, ingests data into Azure Files Provision v2 storage accounts. Azure, have you ever heard of Azure Data Box?
No.
It's like a transitionary data service to move things in and out quickly. And so this gives you better cost control for file share workloads, basically. All of them have some cost impact or value impact. So I thought I'd bring them in, but that is me done.
There we go. So next one is visibility, like the billing conductor, tags, cost categories. There is what I think is a big one for AI FinOps. It's AWS now automatically records the IAM identity, user or role, behind every Bedrock API call directly in Cur 2.0 and Cost Explorer. By the way, they don't talk about focus, but so the idea in here is that you, for every call to Bedrock, or every cost related to Bedrock, you will know who created that cost. And I hope it works also from the request when you need to have inference, who is asking which query. So that I will be able to attach in a simple way my AI cost to the right people or the right teams. So let me see. As you scale generative AI usage with Bedrock, a common question emerges: which team, application, or user is driving the Bedrock spend? And it was really hard to do manual reconciliation before using CloudTrail, but now you can, where is it? It's a new capacity. So we have now a new capacity that automatically record the identity of the caller for every Bedrock API call directly in the AWS Cost and Usage Report and Cost Explorer. With this feature, you can now track, allocate, and optimize Bedrock models spent by the IAM principle that makes the call without using custom toolings.
Wow.
So that's going to be a blow potentially to some of it. So, right?
What column is that getting stored in? Must have a new column.
It's either it's going to have a new column because they have no problem adding or removing columns. And that might be a beginning for other things. If they might really help a good thing,
isn't it? Yeah, that starts doing like things Pellinor and attribute are doing.
Yes. So if it connects, connects any API call, so you do not have to record, which is CloudTrail, API call and do some strange work. If it's all done directly in the Cur 2.0, this is going to be absolutely brilliant for cost allocation. So that's why I thought it was a big one.
It's really cool. I agree.
Next one is AI-powered cost analysis in AWS Cost Explorer. Amazon Q is now embedded directly in Cost Explorer. You can click suggested prompt or ask free text questions. And Q auto-configure filter, date range, and grouping, and update the chart simultaneously. Conversational follow-up work, so you can drill down in why did RDS spike, or break it down by region without leaving the view. No additional setup or cost for existing Cost Explorer user. Free tier 50 query per month. Pro $19 per user per month. But how many things do you get for $19 per month is unclear to me. So yes, so you can start using Amazon Q, and it seems they've created either model or really put strong guardrails in place, so it only works with the data from Cost Explorer and hopefully only provides information related to billing, at the same time being able to do math correctly and not randomly, which is, hopefully, this is what I hope this is all about. Let us know. Amazon Q cost capabilities. So there is a full overview provided by AWS on Q full cost capability. So let me see, where is that? Transforming FinOps with the latest Q cost capabilities. And so it says FinOps, which I'm obviously very interested about. And it is, so Amazon Q is transforming how FinOps team navigate cloud spend. By the time a FinOps team flags an expensive configuration, it may already be running in production. The fix can be more disruptive to deploy. The discussions are more challenging. So Amazon Q is accelerating your ability to get answers and make decisions. They're surfacing now optimization recommendation directly inside developer workflow. And so now you can access directly Q from, is that in plain the CI/CD? That's my big question. Well, it's the same one. It's a free tier 50 query, but and all the example are in Cost Explorer. So exactly how that works is unclear, but it's they are trying to do shift left. This is an article that tells you shift left. I'm slightly dubious that you will have to have developers going to Cost Explorer. Still, it's a move in the right direction. I'll call it that way. Then it's still me. Billing dashboard schedule email delivery. And honestly, I thought that was already there. But AWS billing and cost management dashboards now supports scheduled email delivery to your reports. And I got it wrong. It's because I was thinking about QuickSight and the Kudos dashboard and all this stuff. Well, this is in AWS billing and cost management dashboard. So this is the official one. And now you can automate report distribution on flexible recurring schedule, eliminating manual compilation work and ensuring financial insight reach decision maker without requiring console access. So you can configure them daily, weekly, or monthly schedule, and they'll receive the email received contains secure link to password protected PDF reports for offline viewing. Anyway, that's quite cool too.
It's cool.
Next, Billing Conductor pass-through. So AWS Billing Conductor launches pass-through pricing plan for billing transfer user. There is lots of capital letters in that stuff. Anyway, AWS Billing Conductor now support the pass-through pricing plans, a new managed pricing plan for billing transfer users. Customer using billing transfer can now select the AWS managed pass-through pricing plan for their billing groups. Under this plan, all accounts in a billing group view billable data that reflect the AWS invoice value through their primary view. Not sure I get that sentence.
No.
customer can apply the new pass-through pricing plan by logging to the bin. So it's to centralize billing and simplify payment without protecting property discounts. This seems to have been generated.
Yeah, it looks a bit.
Anyway, if you use billing conductor, and particularly billing transfer, which I need to, seems to be outdated on that one, have a look. That might be something you are interested in. And I'm not going to try to make myself more ridiculous than I need to be. Last from this section is still on AWS. Is AWS Cost Optimization Hub now supports CSV download. I mean, wow, you can use Excel. So AWS Cost Optimization Hub now supports direct CSV download in the console, enabling you to export your cost optimization recommendation to your local machine with a single click. This capability provides a one-click export option directly from the console and complement the existing data export.
I was going to say you could API it before, I thought. But I guess not everyone wants to API it.
Yeah, possibly. But that is something that is interesting, not only for... But they say, yeah, it can do for the console, but I would guess that there is an API call that can be used by agents, for example, to get all the optimization things. Because I was talking with some vendors overall, and I think we should, where possible, use now what the cloud vendors are providing as optimization, because they are now reasonably accurate from the latest, and you can confirm or deny what I'm saying there. But you could try to get their data first and then add value on top of it instead of trying to recreate a full optimization engine. I mean, they have probably more developers than you have, whoever you are.
Yeah, you know, I had a chat with another provider recently, and I said, "Are you just using the local stuff?" And they said, "Oh, we try to add some more." It's tricky, isn't it? Like, I think there's more intelligent stuff you can do on the next stage potentially, or do something that they're not doing. The vendor related stuff is pretty reasonable.
Or even noticing the differences. I remember when we're in Strategic Blue, we've noticed that. I don't remember now. I think it was AWS was being slightly too optimistic by a fixed amount of percentage. And you can start saying, look, if you want to take, this is what the AWS says, this is what we would recommend because we've discovered an X% gap. But you present decisions to the customer, you allow them to show the value you're adding, the research you've done, while at the same time say, yeah, but the basic data is coming from there.
Yeah.
From the cloud.
I think it is in more and more cases. I'm not going to name tool providers, but I know plenty that do just that.
I think it's still you. Now it's you.
Yes, Lisa. It's now me. Sorry. Yeah. So the AI cost summary agent is now available in preview. I already did that one, but I put it here and you put it elsewhere. So my bad. Okay. So there's nothing in commitments, nothing in pricing, puts us straight onto savings. And the first one is GKE workload recommenders now in the FinOps hub, which is on Google Cloud, if you know. So bring right sizing signals for under and over provisioned GKE workloads directly into the FinOps hub workflows for those who are using it. That came out on April the 20th, and that's from the release notes.
Okay. The next one is Amazon ECS. Managed instances now support NVIDIA GPU metrics. So you get the GPU metrics for containerized workloads running on Amazon ECS managed instances. These metrics are available through CloudWatch Container Insight with enhanced observability. Okay, that's one block of link. But it gives you access into GPU health and performance to help troubleshoot and optimize GPU accelerated workloads on Amazon ECS. And I really hope it also tells you when your GPU is working but really not doing anything, because it seems to be a problem on a regular basis. But what you get is GPU capacity, utilization, memory, hardware health, and thermal conditions directly in CloudWatch. So you get granular visibility into all these metrics, and if you know what to do with them, you can take action faster or real time, really.
Nice. How are we going to do these ones?
I do the first, you do the second.
Fine.
Let's do it. So first is FinOps. We're in FinOps general, bringing data center into the modern FinOps using focus. It's an article from Mike Fuller, which is with JR, the author of the FinOps book. It's a meaty, practical, in this case, it's a meaty, practical guide to extending FinOps practice to on-premise and hybrid data centers using focus. I know... Yes,
I'm doing a project on this at the moment. I haven't seen this guide, so I'll have a look for sure.
I've spoken with our very fun, very nice grenade launcher friend that you know well, and he was disagreeing with what was written on this document. So,
oh really?
I have a chat. Well, it's mostly because data center come from a set of lots of past approaches, frameworks. Knowledge, there is lots of knowledge around data centers, and trying to fit what you're doing into FinOps.
The person in question comes from data center background as well, right? Like knows them exceptionally well. If it's
yes, and so that's where there is a conflict of: are you trying to impose your thing like turf war, or are you trying to leverage what's already there and add some FinOps capability?
I'm doing a project at the moment to try to transpose software into focus. Just because I'm trying to create a converged platform that has software, hardware, and cloud. And focus seems as good a place as any. I'm going to be banging loads of columns on the end, don't be wrong. Right? Of course I am.
XSO, Steve-O.
Yeah. So there's going to be a load of columns at the end, but I don't see a major problem with that having, because it's not that many columns focus, is it? So it seems like a reasonable starting place.
I think it's more,
and some of them remain the same.
I think it's more the operational bit. It's not just it's putting things into focus. You have SNMP that exists in data center. You can create a focus format. Is what do you do with that after? Which I think is more of a,
I agree. That is, I mean, in the software space, you're doing regular ELPs. You can extract from the ELP, update the data there, and you're looking at your entitlement versus your usage. Obviously in cloud you bang it in there. In your data center, that's a really interesting one. I think you're gonna have to do it based on contract changes and invoices. So you're going to have to ingest those two things and apply them across. But this is kind of TBM, TVM world, isn't it? You're trying to apply models across very different types of cost. And it is a really interesting one. But then on the flip side, like lots of lovely people we know at Aptio, but it's not the cheapest tool, right? And is there a way I can, if I don't need that level, which does like everything I could possibly need, but you have to be an expert in it to use it, can I use Focus to create something that I can just do enough that I need to do on, for instance? And that's what I'm looking at. There's obviously Yerkin, which is a competitor, which is interesting. I spoke to a company recently who are very much like a tool that allows you to bring in data and then does modeling on top, which might be interesting, called, I thought you'd like the name, Humans Not Robots. Yeah. It's something I'm investigating right now. We're doing more kind of technology value management work, and it's a big data challenge, isn't it? Really,
yes.
And this is a thing I was going to speak to you about actually. I messaged you recently about, because it's a data problem, and who do I go to when I have a data problem?
I think you have data as the first layer. It's almost you need to start with having good data, and then you can start saying how existing processes will interact with that data, how you're going to present value back.
Yeah, the first thing is, do you have the data to allow us to build a model? Like, have I got a key that links the different sides of your product business to your thing and all of that? Super exciting piece, but really interesting. Obviously, the kind of stuff I've done in the past, but it's a different scale and therefore a different data challenge. And so I think it's super interesting. But it is, can we use Focus, or am I shoehorning something in for the sake of it when I can actually just build my own model? Which would do exactly what I need it to do. And they're the question marks around it, right?
Yeah, those are always question marks, and that especially the world of vibe coding, where you can create models very easily. And You
here's
create
my
your
thought.
custom one.
Which is the hardest set of data to handle in terms of volume and change? It's cloud data versus all those other forms of data in that space. It's cloud
Yes.
data. So if I can get
Yes.
my cloud data in an agreed format and then put the rest of it on top of that, I think that's the easier journey than doing it in any other way. Trying to get my cloud data to fit in another way. Either that or I've got to handle different data sets.
I would disagree on I think the contracting is the worst. Transforming legalese.
Contracts are always horrific. Yeah. But it's not a complex data format. It's just a horrible job.
Yes, and it's the ingestion. Is how do you transform the data so you keep track of all the legalese aspects?
There's more and more stuff that does that. Okay. Accuracy being your risk. So is it Hungry Soup, is it? Oh, I'm forgetting now. There's some quite good PDF extraction stuff in Python you can do now and bits like that, because I've been doing it. So I've built like a FinOps chatbot because obviously when I moved jobs, I wanted my team to kind of still have access to a FinOps brain. And so I made one, and it just extracted anything I'd ever written from PDF or anything like that and other sources. But I also tried to do one, because Rich Gibbons. We've had Rich Gibbons on here, haven't we? Yeah. He's like our Microsoft god, right? But he gets asked every and only question, and I'm sure 70% of them could be handled much more quickly. So I downloaded the Windows Server PDFs from the website, which have all the rules on there, and then ingested those into a RAG. And again, that was relatively straightforward. The problem is it's the AI appreciating the nuances between what one cause impacts another. That's the interesting challenge, isn't it?
There is also that PDFs are all different. Someone was saying that PDF at the moment, parsing PDFs is the hardest thing to do. And that AGI will be, just before AGI will be reached, it's going to be PDF will be parsed. That's someone was writing. So it is, sometimes it's well written, the PDF has all the metadata in it that you can easily transform it into text and it's easy to read. Some others with lots of formatting, just hell on earth. Yeah, interesting. But let's continue.
Well, that's true. Yeah. And contracts and license can be heavy variable, can't they? Right. So JR, the other author of the book, on April 28th, released an executive profile of MetLife's SVP of AI, Cloud and Data Platforms, highly relevant for people who are interested in FinOps scope expanding. And Sonali frames it as cloud plus SaaS plus AI plus professional services, not just cloud optimization. Fair enough.
Interesting. There is also...
shall I say next one? It's linked. It's part of MetLife as well. They're setting budgets 18 months out, which is completely incompatible with weekly AI model releases.
Well, yes, but it's also, I think the title is AI forecasting is still an evolving art. Yeah. You can just say forecasting is always, by default, it's going to be an evolving art.
Yeah.
Next one, security risk via Kerr data. So it's a blog post showing how Kerr data can surface security anomalies, unexpected service usage, unusual region, activity patterns, etc., etc.
It's not the Kerr that's the risk. That's how I initially
It's not the Kerr that the risk is the interpretation of the Kerr data.
From Kerr. Right, okay, nice.
The fun thing is I think they don't go far enough. So I've built, again, because you can now, a tool that is...
You vibed. Should we just call it we vibed rather than we built?
Yes, I vibed. But the idea is to say from the Kerr data, you can extract investments. So you can extract that. A month ago, we were investing that amount in AI, and this month we're investing that amount. So there is progression. You can also understand where money was removed from. You can interpret almost the strategy of the company for it. So I'm trying to create something that extract data from the Kerr to create some sort of a profile, creates a prompt that you can fit to whatever LLMs you have, and it will give you what are the changes that you can understand from this. I think it's really useful for example, executives to say, this is a request I've asked. Is this being implemented? Is the spend as we've agreed? Is the money moving between, compute to GPUs? But yeah, there is this article that you can have a look at, security risk via Kerr data. The name of the article is Identifying Security Risks Using AWS Cost and Usage Report Data.
Nice. Right, I'll try to move quickly because we've still got a few to go through. FinOps Explainability Agent, an autonomous AI agent in Google Cloud Billing that investigates AI cost drivers and answers questions like break down my Gemini 15 Pro versus flash spend, etc. And that does exactly what it says on the tin.
Okay. Commercial auditability, private preview. This is a Google, again, enhanced billing account hierarchies for aggregated spend across multiple accounts, plus contract commitment reporting, showing Google Cloud EA burn down.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see that on AWS, but yeah.
Well, you have to build it yourself. Spend caps in private preview, enforce hard limits at the project level for AI Studio, AI Platform, which is Vertex AI, Cloud Run functions, and maps. And caps pause API traffic when the budget is hit. And considering almost all of those things are triggered via API, it basically shuts it down. Similar to how we had budgets in AWS, but that left your storage on these things because they work differently. You should stop incurring almost all costs when you hit your spend caps. And these are all things that you can trigger significant costs if you get things wrong. So I think that's super.
Yes, and I hope it's going to expand. As I was saying, it's going to expand, so I can put a spend cap. Yes, I want to keep the cost of the storage because the storage is something that is mine, but I want to be... as I say, I want my server to crash before I get broke.
Yeah, I think that already exists. I think this is going into the API thing, but I will check that for next time.
Okay. A bad thing, which was quite a
thing in sustainability. Yeah.
So, we have sustainability. Amazon's board rejected a shareholder proposal for detailed data center climate disclosure. AWS offers only aggregated quarterly total via its customer carbon footprint tool, but the CSRD and SEC compliance requires workload-specific, region-specific, time-specific data, with AWS adding 3.9 gigawatts of capacity, and remembering that 1 gigawatt is what a nuclear power station produces a year. Okay, just this is 4. We're talking 4 power station. And acknowledging new gas plants and continued coal use, the information asymmetry is deliberate. The idea is that, they don't want to share the real data. And that goes with what we know, but unfortunately is confirmed. So very clearly separate what is said on the marketing side of things versus what is being done. And I always put more value on what is being done.
Yeah. Anyway, there we go. Okay, I'll try this one. The big silence on memory prices, 13th of April, OVH and smaller cloud providers signaled 5 to 10% price increases for April to September 2026. AWS, Azure, and GCP said nothing, despite DDR memory prices being up 300 to 400% from mid-2025 lows, driven by AI server HBM demand, crowding out standard supply. So that's interesting. And you can't right-size your way out of hardware scarcity. Memory-intensive workloads, your Redis, anything cachy, right? AI inference, stream processing, face really sharp exposure. I think this is making it harder to not be part of the cloud. I think that's why they're playing the game and swallowing the costs and managing the pieces. But it's really hard to now compete on getting kit. Like even laptops are, sometimes we're struggling to get laptops.
But, I think it was Apple in the latest quarterly presentation. They were explaining that they still have chips aside of memory, but they are managing stock, but they don't have much more. And I think it's the same. AWS, for example, but cloud vendors overall have a very big advantage here. Is while they might not be buying new servers right now, they might just wait because you are presenting with all the old stuff, and when they decide, when they have the right cost, they might release the R9s. for example, and say, oh, R9s are going to be even at the same price, but we're going to release them 6 months later than expected, for example, or 1 year later. So they have real control over your capacity. So unless you are someone that needs the latest, brighter servers here and now, if you can wait, that's a really good time to wait. Both if you're buying it new or if you're in the cloud.
We've seen like capacity issues in the cloud in the last 6 months, right? So it's beginning to get better, but they can't build capacity fast enough. Some of this because of the capacity density created by AI, the lack of density in this. Some of it's space, and some of it's obviously power, and some of it's RAM.
You have space, you have power, you have heat. Also, you need, and then you need also the availability of the kit. It's still procurement.
It's a lot of parts, isn't it?
You can say whatever you want, but you still need to buy the hardware. It needs to be built and then brought to you. Apple was highlighting how they have more demand than they have capability, and now they're not on the first list. They are not the first on the list for TSMC to create new chips, because that's NVIDIA now.
Yeah.
And so that's why they've made an alliance with Intel, which was, out of the blue. Brilliant if you're an investor of Intel.
Indeed.
Anyway, Amazon Quick Document. So which one is that? Amazon Quick now supports document and visual creation in chat. So Quick, I don't remember which one is Quick.
Well, it's Quick Suite now. Is it part of Quick Suite?
Yeah, I think it's Quick Suite, and it's part of the. It was the Quick side, but the idea is that you can create polished document, presentation, spreadsheet, and more through natural language without leaving your conversation. So it's not that you have a chat on one side and you have the dashboard on the other side. Directly into the chat, it's going to be able to build Word, PDF, PowerPoint, and Excel format files. And it's going to be able to create infographic, charts, and other visuals that you can embed into any document or presentation.
Which might be nice if you're doing stuff out of Kudos dashboards.
Absolutely, and also if you need to present back to your leader or whoever, whoever, you need to present back things. You can just ask the question and get a report which is not just text.
Yeah,
should be really cool.
Cool. I'm going to skip the last one because I don't think it's very FinOpsy, which means, Frank, after that marathon of news, we are done. Woohoo! Well done, everyone who's still here. We do still have FinOps stickers to come, FinOps guys stickers to come see us at FinOps X. And thank you, Frank, for your side of the research.
And thank you, Steve-O.
This is the only place I get called Stephen.
I like Stephen.
I know I'm fine with you calling me Stephen, and that's the thing. I think it's because you call me Stephen, and you've always called me Stephen, and I'm absolutely fine with that. It's so it's interesting. So I was called Steve-O because I joined a team of 30 people that had 5 Steves in it. So Steve and Stephen were taken. Yeah. So I ended up being Steve-O. Amusingly, my job before that, there were 3 Steves. And a guy called Steve W took Steve-O. So I wasn't Steve-O there, which was weird. I was just Steve, which was fine.
You were Steve.
Yeah, I was the Steve. And then came Strategic Blue, and you call me Steve, and a lot of people call me Steve. But my old team, who I stayed in touch with, always call me Steve-O. And then when I went to CloudReach, I in my culture interview, which was with 2 of my team members, they said, "How do you feel about being called Steve-O and not Steve?" And I said, "Well, I'm kind of used to it. Why?" And it's because one of my team leads' husband was called Steve, and they all knew him. And they were like, "We already have a Steve, so you do need to be Steve-O if you want to pass your cultural interview." So I accepted it, and so it has then just stuck throughout. And then it was my Slack handle, which then transferred into FinOps Connect and FinOps Foundation, and there you are before you know it. That's why most people call me Steve-O, except for you, and my wife. Right. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for that. That's a little bonus piece, the history of my name. And I will speak to you probably next week. We've got loads of people who want to interview, and we just need to arrange them, don't we? But that's me. We don't want more. Do ask us if you want to do one while we're away. Let us know as well, everyone.
We have at least 2. Which I've had a short chat we have before interview, and 2 which are in the waiting list that we need to agree. You and I need to find some time, and we'll send them
Indeed.
to these people,
Perfect.
and we'll see how that goes.
Well, thank you, Frank, and thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.